We are here with Raphael Lacoste. I think it's very interesting artist because your background is different. So you expect more effects artist, more concept artist is working in the eye sector. Can you tell me how did you start? Because you come from the theater.
Yeah. So on my life, so when I was a student in fine arts, I found it was difficult because I was missing the work on aesthetic and on lighting and drawing also. So I worked with a theater company in Bordeaux in France as a set designer, but also as a photographer. So it was very inspiring, and also because I worked with a very interesting team of artists, a troupe, and they were very inspiring for me. So that was my first experience as an artist. I learned a lot from them, from the human gesture, from everything in that theater company.
Okay, maybe this have a different point of view. Can be say different tasks and can be the different result.
Yeah, it's in art. You mean? Yeah. But when I was working for the theater company, I was working on plays, so the inspiration was coming from the text, from the story, and working on the film industry is it's very technical. So it was very inspiring because there's a lot of senior people in the film industry. So I learned a lot about image composition, how to create a digital background, how to deal with a very technical constraint, but also we were very focused on the framing, so image composition was very important. Whereas in game, it's open world, and Assassin's Creed is very open world, so the composition is it's very different because it's interactive. So you can have your nose next to a wall, and then 2 minutes after you could be on a rooftop and have a beautiful cityscape. You can be in a back alley. So the diversity of the composition in video game is very systemic. You have to think of it a very different way from the movie industry. And in a play, it's a static background. It never changes, so it's the actors. So you have to provide something that fits for a story and stays for a long time.
You work in Ubisoft, right? And can you tell me some aspect of your work?
On a Black Flag? Yeah, so the work at Ubisoft is very complex because I'm the franchise art director for Assassin's Creed, so it means that I help the art directors on the other Assassin's Creed projects, but I have one project for me also, on me and my team, so I would be art directing, for instance, Black Flag, and at the same time I would be helping the team on a syndicate. They were doing a conception on the game, so I have different phases, I would say, different phases of conception and production. So we have the first phase is very conceptual, so I would be an illustrator. I would be doing a lot of drawings to inspire the team, and I would work with the other illustrators, concept artists, character designer. I will be working also with the script writer and the creative director to define the mood and the setting and the overall immersion of the game. And in production, I would be really the meeting guy, doing approvals and making sure that all the first intention we have is created in the game. So my role is changing in a production, in a video game production, from illustration to production and approvals, and realization in 3D of all the first intention we had.
Can you tell me about some actual projects you work now?
I can't talk about anything happening at Ubisoft, but my personal stuff. I have personal projects. I want to make a book with Patrice.
You do also your personal project.
So I'm a teacher at university in Montreal in environment design. So every week I give a 3-hour course specialized in environment design in video games. So they learn, how to draw, how to do illustrations, and how to recreate this first intention in a game. So I'm teaching in the NAD Center in Montreal, so it's a very good school. And the equivalent in France is the Engmin in Angoulême. I don't know if in Italy you have also the same kind of university. Maybe no. Yeah, it's too bad because I would come. So I'll be also doing some personal projects, and I have a project with Patrice Lemarié to make an art book, a personal art book, like Marc Simonetti.
What do you think about this NFT prize?
I think it's a very good scale. It's like we are like very accessible, I think, because there's a lot of people, but it's not like a huge amount of people. It's fantastic because for me it's the opportunity to meet amazing guys like Marc Simonetti. I met Craig Mullins and my friend Ian McHugh, and it's fantastic because it's not only to be able to communicate about my experience, but it's also to learn from the other senior of the industry, of the film industry, the game industry. And as a speaker, you learn also from the other guys invited, so from the other speakers. Like you're like a student also on that point.
I think that our life influences more our job. How your life influences your job. What I mean, when we talk, we say, hey, I do around the world for this inspiration, how this influences your job?
It affects my job, but I would say my life has been always around art. And I've been always a kind of introverted person, and I always wanted to discover new places and draw after the places I discovered. So maybe I found the ideal job because I was already my sensibility is already like being, you know, it's already there, you know. I love environments, I love travels, I love to, and it's funny because I love Italy, and I've been there when I was very young with my parents. So for instance, when I was very young, I went to Torino, and I spent hours alone in the city, and just the feeling of being there, like feel like a fish out of water in a place you don't know. Well, I'm a little guy from Bordeaux, you know, from France, and I have a protective family, you know, I'm always secured, and I was there, I was alone, and I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know how to speak Italian, and I was not speaking very well English, but it was a fantastic experience. I loved being there, because it was, it's a new place, and I want to draw these arches, and I was looking at the stores and at the architecture, and I went later with my parents to, we did a trip in Tuscany, we went to Firenze, Siena, San Gimignano, we did all this area, and it's not a far distance, we drove, like 17 hours. In Canada, you drive 17 hours. It's the same landscape. It's the same landscape. In Europe, you drive 17 hours, you see like fucking incredible difference. It's like from mountains to ocean to sea to different language. So that's being a European is fantastic. So yeah, so I love this kind of inspirational trips.
Do you have some advice for artists?
Yeah, so very often artists, they try to show as many things as possible. So they would show environment design, character design, sci-fi, fantasy, realism, and I say no. Focus on the things you like and you're good at doing. Because if you want a job, you can't send a portfolio with character design, theories, dragons, and spaceships at the same time. Where do you fit? It's like, okay, you as an illustrator, as a concept artist, where do you think you fit? And that's very important to work a lot on, you know, your path and what you love to do. That's the most important thing. And I would say also, don't spend too much time in details. Really focus more like on design, image, composition. If you're doing environment design, composition and characters, but don't lose time into the details. Not on the chain mail, but more on the design of the character.
extremely because I ever think details with a difference.
Details give not the difference actually. Details are the touch on the top of the high level intention. So sometimes if you take like from junior illustrator, you look at the artwork, it looks fantastic because there's a lot of details everywhere, but if you put the image in black and white, you don't see anything. You see what I mean? A lot of textures, photos and details and stuff. And it's like, okay, take the photo in black and white. Is it good enough? Is it interesting? Do you have good pose? Do you have an interesting design for the environment? And then add the details, but be suggestive in the details. Don't be too much descriptive. Don't spend too much time on small details. Choose the place where you want the eye to be attracted, and then you will add at the right place, the right spots, the detail.
What do you think is the future of CGI games?
I don't have I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. So what I hope is that the tools are not going to replace the humans. I hope that the procedural tools won't be working at the place of the humans. I hope that humans will be still crafting and creating. So this is something we'll see, we'll figure out, because we want to win a lot of time, to find a lot of time, with the tools, but we still want to have humans creating. So that's something I'm a bit afraid of, but I'm happy to see also that very small games with very small company are also working very well. So it's maybe also the place where people can be very iterative, very creative at the same time. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, so thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
I hope to see you next time.
Yeah, maybe
Canada,
see you maybe in Italy.
Italy.
Yeah, I went to Luca Comics and Games. I think 3 years ago. Was it? Emanuele invited me for it. It was fantastic. I loved it. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
See you, man. Thanks.